Hello, and welcome to Live Vedanta, a podcast about simple living and high thinking. We're currently amidst our season that digs into the 100 words that are at the heart of self-development. If you go to our show notes, you can find a link to the first episode, or even the last episode if you just want to start there. But what are we talking about today? In a highly competitive world, it can sometimes feel impossible to keep up. What society labels as important is all on the surface level. How can we dive deeper and understand who we really are? In this episode, Vivekji teaches us how we can adapt, accept, and understand that we are not separate, and also explains how we can get on the path to oneness.
Hari Om, and greetings from Niagara Falls. On a scale of 1 to 100, 1 being awful, 100 being awesome, how would you rate your IQ? The I in IQ has many definitions. Let us treat it as intelligence quotient. How intelligent are you? 1 is awful, 100 is awesome. Share, everyone. See the politicians, 50. Neither here nor there. Okay. Now, how would you rate your SQ, your spiritual quotient? 1 is awful, 100 is awesome. Rate yourself. Wow. In conclusion, you have rated yourself higher on your SQ than your IQ. My analysis of these ratings, IQ is how much people respect you. SQ is how much you respect you. IQ, how much people respect you. SQ, how much you respect you. Between the two, there is greater utility in SQ. Because people respecting you, that is fragile. That is flimsy. Whereas you respecting you, that's firm. That's foundational. When one has a higher SQ, all that they do becomes more efficient. All they live and work with, they're more effective at that. Our course, and now we've completed more than half of our course. This is a form of tapa. Tapa means to burn down comfort zones. Our whole life, our comfort zone was our IQ. But now we're burning that down and into SQ to become more reflective. And the Seeker's Word Book, the Mokshapata, are beautifully designed for this. In the Seeker's Word Book, there's a pointer, there's a phrase, there's a paragraph, there's a picture for you to ponder on. For the Mokshapata, every space is a mirror to who you are. Do you have this vice? Do you have this virtue? In terms of snakes and ladders, there's no reflection on how that is you. You will know that your SQ is growing if you engage in more ekagrata. Ekagrata means focus. When you focus on an entity, you can understand. But if one is distracted, how can you understand an entity, whether it's math or your own personality? And what's amazing about becoming more focused is there's a decrease in raga. Raga means attachment, which we all struggle with. Most practically, when you get to know someone well, when you get to know the essence of who they are, you're not attached to them then. You love them, and in that love, there's independence. Reviewing our 50th headspace, vritti. In English, thought. Thoughts are powerful, which is why we should direct them. When we direct our thoughts, that is called thinking. A Sanskrit word for human is manava, the one who manyate, thinks. And whenever you're not thinking, what should we do with our thoughts? Observe. These are the two practices that should be going on in our minds. When I'm actively using my mind, I am thinking. Like right now, as I'm speaking to all of you, I am thinking. I hope you are too. When you have your discussion, I stop thinking, I go into observing. Observing the thoughts because I don't need to think while you're discussing. Try to visualize that your mind is a post office. In a post office, every letter package that comes into that office, the administrators know about it. It gets scanned, it gets stamped, it gets sorted. Nothing should happen in your mind that you don't know about. Either you're thinking or you're observing. 51, vasana. In English, print. Your books say blueprint. I wanted to generalize that to print. The technical definition of vasana, not the definition, the translation is smell. Vasana means smell. And the idea behind this is all that we do that leaves a print on us. And smell is such a good word for vasana. The example that Pujya Swami Chinmaya ever uses is that if you cut onions in the morning, even after you wash your hands and wash them with soap, when you're having your lunch and you bring your hands to your nose, what do your hands smell like? Onions, correct? But if you picked up some cereal and were munching on it, there's no smell to that, correct? Because it's not real food. And so the idea with vasana is we should direct our lifestyle so that what's being printed on us makes us fragrant, more cheerful, more content. And whenever you're engaged in that which is right, that which is helping you be cheerful and content, pronounce that. Write it out, say it. That way that print becomes deeper and deeper and deeper. Let's try right now. How is this class, everyone? Yes, exact. We've never been in a better class before. We feel that we are enlightened. Headspace 52. I think I only introduced this. Artha. Artha. You tell me what this means in English. What does artha mean? Here we're swinging 50-50 again. The societal definition for artha is wealth. The reflective definition for artha is meaning. Why is there this discrepancy? Because defining it as wealth is easy. To live for wealth is the path of least resistance. Whereas to live for meaning, right now, that's difficult for us, so we don't do it. When one lives for wealth, they become artha, which means dejected. Think about it. How can wealth be your purpose? It can be for a short period of time, but even as you're amassing wealth, inside we know that this is not sustainable. We live for artha, as in wealth, because we're instinctive. Everyone else is doing it. How do you know definitively that you're defining artha as wealth and not meaning? You're busy. Busyness is a sign of wealth and not meaning. And what comes with busyness? Stress. Isn't this rampant in society? But for those whose lives are directed to meaning, purpose pulls performance. And performance pulls peace. They're not instinctive, they're intentional. They're not busy. They're engaged. They're not stressed. They're serene. Humans, by design, we need that which is authentic and deep. Wealth is neither of those. Authentic and deep. Live your life in such a way where you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You do not have to prove anything to anyone. It's your life. And swadhyaya, which is self-reflection, is critical for one to shift from wealth to meaning. And the more swadhyaya one engages in, the more they can relate to one's guide, to one's map. If you find our Upanishad or Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, or even this class is not relatable, I assure you it is not because of the actual teaching. It is not the words. It is because you're still focused on wealth instead of meaning. And there's a lovely narration to emphasize this. Rishi Narada had once come to be with Bhagavan Krishna. And Rishi Narada is like a sattvic stirrer. He likes to stir matters, but to bring out the sattva. So he asked Bhagavan Krishna's Devis, which one of you loves Bhagavan Krishna the most? And two of the Devis, they accepted this challenge. It was Satyabhama, Devi Satyabhama, and Devi Rukmini. So how do you prove who loves Bhagavan the most? What they're willing to give for him. So Rishi Narada set up this Tula Purusha. It's this scale where Bhagavan Krishna sat on one side, and then the Devis had to start giving on the other side to create that equal weight. Can you all visualize that? So Devi Satyabhama went first. And what did she do? She just kept on putting more and more and more and more and more wealth. But that scale wasn't shifting at all. And then Devi Rukmini came and took one leaf, one tulsi leaf. She remembered Bhagavan Krishna. Maybe she gave him a wink and a kiss from afar and put it on that scale. And immediately there was that balance. Bhagavan Krishna is not concerned about one's wealth. What he's concerned about is bhakti, which is why in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, he shares, you can offer me a leaf, a flower, a fruit, water, as long as you're offering this with bhakti. Headspace 53. Rupa. Rupa in English means form. Analyzing this more practically, every form has a name. Pick up a form around you. Show me, show everyone. Look around at everyone's forms. There's names for that, correct? Headphones, books, coat, pen, pencil. Agreed? Every form has a name. In our culture, when an infant is born, a name is given 11 days later. This is called namakarana. Why 11 days later? Because back in the day, infant mortality was higher. And as soon as you give an entity a name, it becomes more real. So this is a protective measure in case that infant didn't survive. Even think of space. Everything that happens in space gets named by the person who observes it, correct? Like in the movie, Don't Look Up. Yes. So all forms have names, and this is required to function. All of you have names. When you ask a question, I share your name, correct? Otherwise, what do I say? I just look at you, but I'm looking at everyone. So it is very functional. However, this course is not about IQ or functionality. It is SQ, which is to learn about the fundamentals. Every entity does have a form I told you about. A name is given, but there are aspects, there are facets that are deeper. In order, the most surface aspect of all of us is our nama, or name. Deeper than that, rupa, or form. What's deeper than that? Guna, or quality. And deeper than that, dhamma, or presence, spirit, existence. So many names we use. Everyone caught that? Nama, rupa, guna, dhamma. Today, as I was thinking about rupa, I was thinking about how Bhagavan Narayana has 4 hands up. And each of these hands, it's almost like he's saying, this is how you're going to be closer to me. First, you have to know my name, so you have to high five that hand. And he puts that hand down. Then you have to know my form, then you have to know my qualities. And then dhamma, his hands are down. There's no separation then. You are with him, he is with you. Is that a strange visualization, or do you all relate to that? Is it strange? I feel it's personal. Like when someone high fives you, there's so much of a connection. And in this case, we're feeling that we and Bhagavan are one. The more we understand and appreciate that the Dhamma, which I described as presence and existence, that is the same for all of us. And when you come away from that, there's more and more and more differences. So from Dhamma to Guna, more differences. Guna to Rupa, more differences. Rupa to Nama, more differences. Like for Vivek, this same form has so many different names in this home. Do you see that? So now, what do we do with this in our everyday lives? We are all different, but we are not separate. And I don't just mean this community, I mean the entire humanity, including animals and plants and stones. Different, not separate. The fact that we are not separate, we should accept each other. And the fact that we're different, we should adapt to each other. Do you see the logical connection in all of that? Rupa, whenever people have names like Rupa, Maya, etc., and then definitions come along like Rupa means form, Maya means delusion. So now you're angry at your parents. Your parents named you delusion. Your parents named you form. Here, you have to take these names in the most absolute sense. Rupa here does mean form, but it's Svarupa. Svarupa means the absolute form, which is existence as I described. Maya is the associate of Bhagavan. So it has to be taken in an absolute sense, okay? Don't criticize your parents. Not that they understood what they were naming you. But now it's all making more sense. 54. Varna. Please tell me in the chat what Varna is. Yes. So good. I'm so happy that none of you use the word caste. Varna means color. Color. When we refer to someone's personality, like that person is like that, or that person is like this, what are we referring to? Tell me objectively. If I say I'm making up someone, Deepak is a dynamic personality. What does that refer to? What is dynamic? What is a personality? Character, behaviors, nature. Any other reflections? Their personality. What is their personality? Their personality. You're defining the entity by the entity. Their personality is their varna. Their personality is their varna. And Bhagavan Krishna shares in Bhagavad Gita, this personality is best known as guna and karma. Guna is their prints or vasanas, which we've already explored. Karma is their profession. Now, please remember, a profession is not associated with payment. A profession is a calling, or a profession is that which occupies you. Like reflecting on Advaita Vedanta is my profession. So sharing this again, our personality, the seed for it, Bhagavan Krishna uses the word guna. We are using the word print. This tends to get expressed through karma or profession. Tends to. How many of you have a degree that you feel is not in resonance with your personality? You went to school, you have a degree that is not suited to you by a show of hands? Okay. What about your jobs? For those who have formal employment, you have a formal job that doesn't resonate with who you are. A show of hands. Do you see my point that karma does not equate to guna? When we don't think deeply, then varna becomes caste. If I'm a teacher, then that means I'm a brahmana, and that means my mind is quiet. That is not true. I'm telling you experientially that is not true. Are you understanding what I'm sharing? Why it's important to think about this in a deep way? Our unconscious, or vasana, or print, is a combination of tamas, rajas, and sattva. Laziness and aggressiveness and calmness. It's a combination of that. Then that expresses in our subconscious, our intellect, our mind. That is our varna. What is our color? It has nothing to do with our skin. It has to do with the mind, the intellect, our inner world. I can go on and on and on about this. With this one word, I feel racism can end. Racism starts with not even nama, rupa, correct? See, if I see someone from far away, I don't know their nama, but I do know their rupa. And their rupa is like this or like that, and it's different than mine, so they must be like this. See how racism is really casteism. But if we think about this more deeply, our color is really our subconscious. And usually our subconscious expresses into our conscious. How I speak, how I act. But we all know we can fake it. Yes? When you have meetings, even though you're not prepared for your meetings, but you can still fake it, yes? See how your subconscious is not there, but your conscious is. That's not happening in class, correct? Not happening in class. The most important point to be noted in all of this, more deep than the unconscious, is awareness. Awareness is who we are fundamentally. On top of that, there's a print and a personality and a profession. And so our personality's purpose is to know and unite with awareness. You knowing the type of personality you have will help you find a path to awareness. For some, it's karma yoga. For some, it's bhakti yoga. Fair. I was going to cover one more point. I'm not going to, but I'm going to conclude with the story I told you I would tell you on Choka Mela. Some years ago, I was in Bharat waiting for our yatris to join me. We were going to be journeying together. And I was at Sandipani. I was with Puja Swami Tejomayananda. And he gave me a book. He said, read it. And the book's name is Choka Mela. And it is about what we would externally describe a Shudra. A Shudra in Maharashtra. A Shudra is a worker. And this worker's responsibility in this village was to do all of the really awful work like clean the defecation of horses. when someone dies to carry them to a funeral pyre. And Chokamela was someone extremely in love with Bhagwan. And so despite all of this awful work, he was ever cheerful, ever content. And the society around him, they were rattled by this. Particularly Chokamela's employer. And what do we do when we're frustrated? We put it onto other people. So this employer kept on giving more and more work and more awful work to Chokamela. Like at one point, a horse had died and he couldn't carry the horse, so he had to cut up the horse into pieces and then again take that to the pyre. So Chokamela, what he would feel is he would ask Bhagwan to come and help him. And Bhagwan would come. Chokamela would see him with his own eyes, and Bhagwan would do the majority of the work. Chokamela usually bossed him around. And he was doing surreal amounts of work, humanly impossible. And eventually, the society around him came to understand and appreciate how special he is. And I'm sharing this with all of you, coming back to how I began our class today about SQ. How in tune are you to the Spirit? The Spirit is infinite. The more in tune you are with the infinite, you will start dropping your limits in such a measurable way. But that demands tapa. You have to not follow the path of least resistance. Think about the words we studied today. Artha is not wealth, it is meaning. Rupa, there's more to that. There's also guna and dhamma and varna. It is not our profession. Deeper than that is our print. Deeper than that is awareness. Chokamela, if you have an opportunity to read this book, read it. It is most inspiring is the wrong word. It makes you think about your life in such an intense way. Like, what am I doing with my life? Who am I?
If you enjoyed what you heard or want to learn more, share this episode with a friend or find us online at facebook.com/cmniagara. For those on the journey of self-development, Chinmaya Mission Niagara provides a community forum for seekers to listen, reflect, and contemplate. This podcast is produced by the Young Adults of Chinmaya Mission, an international nonprofit working to transform individuals through the knowledge of Vedanta. Until next time, inspire, love, be.